Amy Ross. Here's an interesting question. Why do we kill people who kill people to show that killing people is wrong? Today I'm going to talk to you about the death penalty. Some of you may feel that it serves a purpose in our justice system, while others of you may feel, as I do, that state-sanctioned murder has serious problems. I became interested in the death penalty when I heard about a man named Troy Davis. He had been on death row for 15 years. There was overwhelming evidence that he was wrongly convicted, and his case got national attention. Even though there was a major public outcry that the United States was possibly killing an innocent man, the state of Georgia executed him last year. Since then, I have read a lot about cases, especially those which involve innocent people being put on death row. First, I will share with you how the death penalty causes innocent people to be put to death. Secondly, I will discuss how the death penalty does not deter criminals from committing crimes. Finally, I will talk about the cost in dollars of putting someone on death row and how that money could be better spent. Even if you believe the death penalty is a moral act, is it still moral once you know that innocent people are being put to death? The United States openly admits that innocent people have been put on death row. Cameron Todd Willingham barely escaped from a house fire that killed his 3 young daughters. Then he was wrongly convicted of starting that fire, and he was sentenced to death. The article Trial by Fire in the New Yorker describes his case. Poorly trained arson investigators completely misread the scene of this tragedy and came to the wrong conclusion about how the fire started. Years later, a new investigation proved that the fire had actually been started by a faulty space heater. But the state of Texas still killed Cameron Todd Willingham in 2004. The Innocence Project gives the facts. Since 1973, 141 people in 26 states have been released from death row after proving their innocence. 10 of those people are pictured here. Even knowing that innocent people suffer under the death penalty, proponents still argue that it may help to prevent future crimes by acting as a deterrent. The death penalty does not deter crime any more than life in prison without parole. Procon.org lists deterrence as a top reason that people give for supporting the death penalty. A 2009 study in the Journal of Criminal Law and Criminology describes how supporters of the death penalty have made a wide range of claims, that each execution deters anywhere from 1.5 to 18 future murders. What we now know is that this is not true. The study goes on to conclude that the death penalty is not more of a deterrent than life in prison. David Cooper's article, found at the Death Penalty Information Center, examines the data across 50 states and shows that murder rates are actually lower in states that do not have the death penalty. Just as the facts can help us to see the light, the actual cost in dollars can be eye-opening. The death penalty is much more expensive than life in prison, and that wasted money could fund something that we all agree is better. I once read a story about a group of people who all had something in common. Each of them had a family member who was murdered. Some of them knew the killer, while others had gone years without finding out who had killed their loved one. This group of grieving people was asking their state to end the death penalty and to put the money it saved into solving the thousands of cold cases that were currently not being investigated because of lack of funding. The Forbes article, Death and Taxes, the Real Cost of the Death Penalty, explains that a death penalty trial costs $1 to $2 million more than a life sentence trial. This article goes on to say that North Carolina found that they could save $11 million a year if they abolished the death penalty. And since 1978, California has spent $4 billion on the death penalty. Doesn't it make sense to use our money to find killers still walking around on our streets, rather than use it to kill people who are already locked up for life? Our government agrees that 141 innocent people were almost killed by the death penalty. The death penalty does not deter crime any more than the sentence of life without parole. Death penalty trials cost a huge amount of money, and this could be better spent on finding killers who are still out committing crimes. Isn't it time to stop killing in the name of justice?
Yes.
Haiti?